Hello, hello, hello. The takeaway. How are you today? I am here, your host, Munif Saza, and we have an exciting stream for you with my co host today, Trevor Mills. Trevor, how are you?
Fantastic after hearing that intro music, man.
I know. I saw you head bobbing in the
Bro.
thing, and I was like head bobbing too. I was like, this is nice.
Bro,
This is
let's keep
amazing.
that going, man.
It
Oh my
was
God.
really good, dude.
Bro, I want
It
to
was
start
awesome.
my days off like that. That's awesome.
Dude, I know. I was like, maybe I should get a new intro video, but I think that one's dope.
Oh, it's so good, dude. It's
Yeah,
so good.
or I'll keep the music and
Yes.
just have like some different,
If
that
anything,
was, like,
keep the music and then just have your guests like
yes.
the whole
Yes.
time.
Yeah, no, I would. Yes, it should be the music.
have like
and it's
different recordings of all your guests like head bobbing and like put that together.
That's so
Yeah, dude.
smart. I
This is-
love that. It's like I just text everybody. I'm like, I need you to send me a video of you head bobbing to
Yes.
this song, and so I can like sync it all on beat.
Have you heard of this is a bit of a tangent. Have you heard of 1 second every day?
No.
Familiar? All right. So my fantastic, like retired, like 78-year-old neighbor put me onto it. It's basically you take a 1 second clip every day of your life, and you do it over a year, you do it over a few years or whatever. You've probably seen them on.
I have on like Reddit and stuff. Yeah.
But you could do that, right? 1 second of everybody head bobbing to the music.
That's so dope. It's like do,
Right,
and it's just like a different person.
Yeah.
Or I take a couple seconds and I put it on loop, right? And it's just like music, and it's like me head bobbing, and then it's like 2 screens, and then 3 screens, and 4 screens. It's like everybody, and it's just like this collage of all
Brady
the,
bunch.
everyone's just like head bobbing. I do. I love all the
I
possibilities.
like it. And then
What
once you
is
get
up?
your,
What is up?
Once you get your bobblehead, then you can add that in there as well, dude.
Yeah, the little. So I have a little.
What's up, Emilio?
Ninja bobblehead.
Oh, look at that, dude. Nice. That's awesome.
It's actually dead. It's like Ninja Deadpool.
Nice. Dude, just doing the thing. Just welcome to the takeaway.
Yes. I look at, so Sam Singh actually got this for me, and I have a couple books here, and he sits on them, and he looks at me when I talk to sellers,
giving you inspiration.
Yeah, he just like harness Deadpool energy.
Yeah.
So, dude, how are you?
Good, man. Good. Actually, fantastic. We just got a confirmed buyer for one of our deals. We thought we had one last week. This was one of the 2 deals that Tori locked up for us.
Amazing.
We thought we had a buyer for the second one, the harder one to dispo, and they've just kind of been waffling. But I just got a call that we've got another buyer that's just locked in. So I just shot a note over to Katie, and we're gonna get rocking and rolling on that, dude.
That's amazing, dude. That's great. So that's us. That's us on our JV.
Yeah. Tori, if you're on, dude, we got some good news coming your way.
Oh my gosh, Tori, if you're watching, you're about to get paid, bro. That is so freaking dope. Sam says Munif is Ninja Deadpool. That's so fun. Thank you. I love that.
How are you doing, man? What's going on this Thursday?
Dude, did you hear the news?
I did. I heard you're leaving us. I heard you're leaving the DMV, dude.
Dude, well, yeah, well, so
it's gonna be D4D in the AZ.
So I'm not leaving the DMV. So I'm doing this thing where I'm going to convert my current residence into an Airbnb.
Cool.
Convert the 2 residences there that's under one lease agreement into a Airbnb. And I'm going to structure it in such a way I have maximum flexibility to fly and live between DC and Phoenix. Yeah, I do have business here. I do have, family, friends, relationships. I have everything here. So but then I also have sub 2 family, friends, and relationships in Arizona. So I get points on my Amex card to fly, and they just been building up, and I'm just like, and now I'm like, oh, I can fly for free pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, I think it's like a 7-hour flight, right? And if I get really good at maybe like nonstop flights, maybe you can do them in like 5 hours. That's easy. That's like really freaking easy.
What?
You know what I mean?
Besides this, like, is the draw out to Phoenix the sub 2 community? you get to hang out with Pace and all that. Like, what was the deciding factor there?
The deciding factor was that I have businesses that operate on West Coast time.
Yeah.
So meaning I will be up till 3 a.m, like solving problems, because a lot of my business partners are West Coast, and like a lot of the problems I have to solve, it's like, hey, we got to make a decision right now. And so we got to actually make complex decisions right now because they're about what to do tomorrow. And like, say somebody's working till midnight, right? Which is pretty late to work till, right? Somebody working till midnight, which is pretty late, which can happen if you're an entrepreneur. That's 3 a.m. for me in the East Coast. Yeah. It's so late. I'm like, oh my gosh, right? But if I'm happy to work till midnight. But then, for me, like somebody in the East Coast working late, say I'm solving a problem. Let's say I'm solving a problem with you and you're like, I'll stay up late. Let's figure it out. Maybe it's till 10 o'clock at night. That's like in Arizona, man. That's like what, 8 p.m. for me? Like, that's fine. Like, I can do that. And I can also pull a little bit of a, not an all nighter, but like work into the wee hours in the West Coast, and it's fine. Right. So it was really the time zone that's been crushing me, man. Like being on the East Coast is a little bit harder. And then if you wake up early, which I love to do, I like to wake up early, I can actually have phone calls and meetings with people because it's not too early in the morning on the East Coast. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
So I'm excited, man.
Dude, you should be. That's absolutely fantastic. So you're actually going to be doing some arbitrage out there?
Yeah, dude. I signed a 3-year lease agreement under market rent. The owner knows what I'm doing, even states in the lease agreement what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I told him I'd cover, if things break and the guests, I'll pay for it out of pocket, no problem. It's on me. But it's a newly built house.
Nice.
He bought it. I think it was either newly built or newly renovated last year, right? He's a single guy living in a 3-bedroom house with a pool. And he's like, bro, this is stupid. I should just live in an apartment. And I'm like, yeah, you should. Yeah. What are you going to do with the house? He's like, I don't know. I'll find a renter. I'm like, I'll rent it for 3 years.
Bro, let me just do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm like, what do you want? Like, what's the perfect dream tenant? And he's like, dude, like somebody I don't have to like ask for rent every month. Like they just handle it. And I'm like, bro, I'll do that. And then I'll even level up. And you don't even have to worry about scheduling maintenance, repairs. You don't have to worry about your pool cleaning. You don't have to worry about your lawn. Just let me Airbnb it. It's like, hell yeah. He's like, I get a check. He's like, I get to be treated like the bank. You're going to treat me like the bank, but I get to also own the house. This is the best thing ever. And for me, I just need a little bit of a discount on the rent, and I need a long-term lease. And I said, why I need a long-term lease? I said, hey, bro, what if you decide to, your cousin moves in and you're like, I got a place for you to stay. And you're like, hey, Manif, sorry, your month-to-month lease, I got to cancel it. 30-day notice. Bro, I just spent $20,000 in furniture and art and decorations and toilet paper and sheets.
Yeah.
Like, I have to recoup it.
Yeah.
Right? So you understand. He's like, oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, we'll do a 3-year lease and we'll extend it if we want to. So that is the arbitrage deal. There's a second house there. It's a guest house right next to the pool. It's got a stove, fridge, bedroom, TV and stuff. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll live there.
And ready for the Munif housewarming party that's about to go down?
A Munif housewarming. So I'm throwing a sub-2 party.
Nice.
Before I launch the Airbnb, I'm going to host a party there. I might cater it. I might get some taco truck or something. I don't know. I haven't decided. But it's going to be a business event.
That's cool.
So it's going to be a write-off.
Yeah. Nice. Good.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. It'll be like a networking event.
Yeah.
And, I'm excited. So, hey, you should fly out well, you have a baby, so it might be difficult, but you can.
Yeah. Schedule's kind of right now.
You can FaceTime us while we're there.
Yeah.
There we go.
We'll do that, man.
How's the baby been?
She's good, man. She's perfect. She is 2 months and 2 days. So on Saturday, she's, a bundle of joy when she's like sleeping and she's quiet and not yelling at me for whatever reason at the time. But that's how it goes with babies. She's just so cute. We just had my parents up today, and they were went out to lunch with them, did baby stuff, like all that. It's absolutely fantastic. So
That's amazing, man. So, I wanted to talk about our topic today, which is consistency. So, the reason Trevor and I, and for those of you watching, the reason we wanted to make this our topic today was we realized that some people are just not consistent, right? Some people are just not consistent, and what it means to be consistent. Like, let's dive into that, right? So, Trevor, you're one of my JV partners. You generate leads for me, right? You generate leads. You've got lead generation. You and a couple of my other JV partners are getting your deals closed. We're closing your deals. You're finding buyers, right? It's amazing. Now, Trevor, you've been consistent. You've had faith that the process works. You've made tons of changes to the process. We've had constant iterations, improvements. I mean, bro, the first time we tried this JV, I mean, we had a whole different idea, and we've
we tried a few
constantly
different things at first. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you didn't give up. You didn't stop what you're doing. You didn't stop filling in the web form and being active and submitting leads. You had faith and you had consistency and you had trust in the process. And boom, we got like 2 contracts locked up and one with one seller.
Yeah.
I feel like we've got a couple more in the pipeline.
Yep.
And like even another one of our JV partners, Luke, man, he didn't make any money the first 3 months he was generating leads for us. And we were constantly upgrading, improving and just recalibrating the process. We get like a deal a week for Luke.
Yeah.
Right. Cause he's like refined it like so well. And so we had this idea to do D4D in the DMV. And the concept of that is, hey, if you drive for dollars and door knock or lead generate or even virtually lead generate in this area, we are your buyers. And not only are we your buyers, we are also your closers. We'll close these deals for you. And we noticed that there's a lot of enthusiasm, like, oh wow, like I just started real estate, I don't know what I'm doing, but like Manif and Trevor will help. But then when the enthusiasm and the motivation die down and it really gets to like, man, I'm just getting up and putting my hours in, generating these leads, but I don't know when the next deal is going to happen. It hasn't happened in the last 10 leads I submitted, but I'm not even sure if they're leads. I'm not really sure what quality, if they're even in the same market. I don't know. It's tough to stay focused and stay motivated. And the answer is consistency and motivation are 2 separate things.
Yeah.
Right. And so what can we do as leaders? How can we help people stay consistent? Because if you stay consistent, there is money at the end of the tunnel. But like, Trevor, we saw it as our responsibility to help people stay consistent instead of blaming people for saying, hey, you got to get more consistent. It's like, hey, how can we step up and be leaders and help provide that consistency and accountability to people who want to be successful in this business? And that's why we decided to do this stream.
Yep. 100%. I think at the heart of it, you got to look at like what causes people not to be consistent, right?
Yeah.
What is the reason? I think there's a handful of things. One, maybe you don't trust the process, or maybe it's not a trust thing. Maybe you're just uncertain about the process, right? And so maybe you don't want to go spend weeks or 3 months doing this certain track with uncertainty about whether it's going to work or not, right? So that's where like the community comes into play.
Right.
But then also I think a big one is like expectation management.
Right.
Right. Like a lot of, as a, student of a variety of different real estate related podcasts and books and all this stuff. And like, it seems like a lot of glitz and glamour and all that. But once you get into it, it's a grind, right? Just like with anything, you got to put the time into it.
Yeah.
Expectation management as it relates to consistency, it's like, if you're going into it with minimal to no expectations and just seeing what you can drum up, what value you can create, and what processes you can implement and be consistent with, and then see how that works out. And like you're talking about, just kind of adjusting accordingly as you're going through that process, like versus maybe kind of getting ramped up into the curb appeal of like wholesaling and closing and like generating leads and all that stuff. And it's like you hear success stories of people like closing their first deal in like a day, a week,
Right.
a month or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, it's like Luke's case, 3 months,
Yes.
6 months, a year, right? Like
Yes.
that's just the reality of the situation. Some people, have something like kind of land in their lap and it's like, boom, that's awesome. Like first deal or whatever, but that's not typical.
Took me 2 years to get my first deal.
There you go.
And once I joined Sub 2, it took me like 90 days before I got my first deal.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but you can do it. You have to trust the process.
And so the process piece is like where folks like this conversation, like the community, like the daily dials and the Sub 2 group, like it's everybody in and around that's willing to help out and give back to folks that are starting out. Like that's the true value there, because they can ramp up their learning and experience ASAP, right? So my process is based off of someone else in this community and how they were generating leads. Same guy that bought you the bobblehead, right? Sam Singh, like he was on The Takeaway. There you go. And he walked through his text campaign and how it works.
Yes.
And I was like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's perfect. Did it and started generating leads, right? If I hadn't had the community or like been connected with you and like watched The Takeaway, been willing to like ask questions, and I even reached out to Sam and I was like, hey, like help me out on some specifics. Like, it would probably take me a little bit longer than what it has to start generating leads consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. I mean, I don't even know how many deals that one video we made closed.
Yeah.
Like I know Caleb Fritz got 3 deals from watching that video. You got 2 actually. So there's 5 just from those concepts. So that video got taken down from Twitch because of copyright infringement.
Really?
But I figured it out with their support staff. So I actually I'm re-uploading that video. That video is like, I wonder how much money that video has generated to the community. So we're re-uploading it. We have all our videos saved.
I still refer people to it.
Well, I don't even know if it's still
I guess I shouldn't anymore, right?
Let's see. No, I mean I have it. I'm gonna re-upload it. I guess I can't actually see. So when someone's streaming on Twitch, you can't see their videos. You can only see the stream, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll make sure it gets re-uploaded later in the week.
Yeah. But I mean, that's like for folks that are like starting off, like that's just kind of that's the grind, right? It's a expectation management, and then also like your ability to like iterate and problem solve.
Yes.
Right. Like Ray Dalio talks about this of like the success steps. It's like 1, you've got to have your goals. What are you trying to achieve? 2, as you're going along that journey, you're going to face a problem.
Yep.
So you got to diagnose the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is the problem that you're facing? And then develop a plan to attack that problem and then act.
I love it.
And so that's a loop, right? And so each time you run into a problem, you don't like stop. You just figure out a way to attack it, figure out, act. And if it works, like move on to the next. But if it doesn't work, like revisit and try something new. But it's that consistency of action that results in consistency of results, right?
Yeah. I think what happens is and I really like how you said that. Like sometimes I've seen people, and I've done this myself, where there might be a problem or something's difficult, or maybe say for the D4D challenge, maybe somebody needs like extra help, or maybe they try calling Munif or Trevor, and like we're busy with our businesses and our lives, so we might not be able to sit there and help for that specific thing. It might be tough to figure out like, okay, oh man, this isn't easy. I don't understand this. This is hard. I don't understand this, and then just give up. Where the real answer to be successful in this business is you have to be resourceful.
Yeah.
You've got an entire community. You've got multiple Facebook groups where you can say, hey, I'm struggling with this problem. like, is there a Zoom or a video or a resource I can connect with? Sometimes people will link you to a Zoom where you can rewatch a Zoom. Sometimes people will say, hey, call me. I actually can help answer this. But here's the thing. Before expecting other people to help answer your stuff, you should be helping 10 people answer their questions, right? Like when I was new, all I did when I first joined Sub2, all I did was answer other people's questions, get on the phone with them, help them in all the small ways I could.
Yeah.
And, you know, people see that and people see you're active. And then when I needed help, it's like people were happy to jump on and or tag their friends or tag people on my posts. So it's you got to be a go-giver. You got to lead with value, and be resourceful. There's a huge community out there to help. Now, Pace said yesterday's Q&A. Did you get a chance to stop by the Q&A yesterday or?
No, I caught some highlights and stuff after, but I was
so pretty much he wants to revamp and revitalize the accountability groups.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if maybe should Virginia have its own? Because DMV, man, is DMV just DC and the parts of Maryland that touch DC, DC, and the parts of Virginia that touch DC, right? Or is it all of Virginia, all of Maryland, and all of DC? Because they're completely different territories, right? Like you've got Richmond, Virginia, you've got Norfolk, Virginia, you've got Virginia Beach, you've got Northern Virginia, like Woodbridge, Prince William County area, right? Like those hot spots, right? But then you've got like different parts of Maryland. You've got like,
I mean, look at the deals that we've locked up in Baltimore, like
right?
Baltimore, like it's a lot different than Arlington, Virginia, right?
Super different, right? And then DC's like, I don't even touch DC, right? Yeah. The wider DMV is huge, exactly. Yeah. So like, I'm wondering, maybe how do we revamp? How do we help revitalize the DMV accountability group? For me personally, it's a little later in the night. I like, it's just the scheduling is tough for me, right?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out, like, we should be this DMV D4D in the DMV challenge. We should be bringing on everybody in the accountability group for it. Like this should be we should all be doing business together in the accountability group. We should be all networking with each other, helping each other build our buyers list, helping each other prospect, generate leads, and figure out this collaborative way where we as Sub2 can really do this challenge, like this D4D in the DMV. Like, there could be a deal that maybe you or me don't want, but one of our other, colleagues in the D4D or our DMV accountability group want to buy that. Right. So I'm trying to figure out a way where we can expand the accountability group and really start doing business with each other, really sharing our resources, and not just saying, hey, I got a lender for you, or hey, I got a resource for you, but like, hey, why don't we, and you've done this, Trevor. I mean, you've networked with me. We're doing deals together. I know you and Mike Ferruzzi, who's also in the DMV. You guys are doing your own thing. Me and Mike are doing our own thing, right? So we're already doing this, but how can we include more people? How can we reach out to more people?
It's a good question. I think there was a post the other day about this as well. It might have been from Pace, basically, but like talking about like the accountability groups should be like building up and sharing like cash buyer lists and not just like processes and what's working for folks and stuff like that. There you go. Like Daryl's working on putting together a meetup. But like really working with one another on as much as possible on people, right? So like this just happened right before our call. I'm helping Mike and Nick dispo deal out in Cumberland, Maryland, which is like middle of nowhere kind of deal. And tomorrow is the expiration of the contract, right? And I put it out into the Facebook ether, and another Sub2 student saw it, Olu, and he reached out and he was like, hey, like I might have a buyer out there. It's like, dude, that's awesome. How do we systematize that? Right? How do we like bring that like connective tissue that's happening with folks that are reaching out and like networking within their region and everything, but how do you, I guess you're almost kind of like formalizing it a bit more, or at least like bringing it up to surface.
I wonder if it's like, bro, like my favorite way to communicate is like text.
Yeah.
And then like for some reason I like Slack.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Same.
You know what I mean? And like we're currently using Discord for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's a whole thing, because I like some people love Discord and swear by it, but from the average person I've talked to, typically Slack for some reason. I don't know why. I have no clue why. I don't even know myself why.
Yeah.
But like I have both apps, but I never go to Discord. I never use Discord. I never check it.
Yeah.
But I check Slack all the time. I check Slack every day, and I don't know why. And I'm wondering if like maybe we should start using Slack. Maybe we should have a. Yeah. What do you think?
Because what we could do is, I mean, we'll just talk about like the DMV accountability group, but like we can set up a DMV accountability group and have the different channels set up for, just like we do with the D4D and the DMV Slack group. Have your channel for Virginia, have your channel for DC,
yeah,
for Maryland, channel for like cash buyers, channel for lead generation, you know, all the different like parts of the funnel and everything. And give everybody like a forum to like systematize that connective tissue.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And like we can have like we can pin our cash buyers lists. You know what I mean? We can do stuff, and we can
all the different resources and stuff like that.
It really comes down to engagement.
Yeah.
And as leaders, we need to create a platform where we can engage with everybody else and help people become leaders themselves, right? And that comes with engagement. That's why I love Twitch. I like people, you know, everyone here, they're like Rich Madrigal is like, Slack is awesome. We use it a lot more.
Yeah.
That comment needs somebody to actually type and hit enter. That's engagement, right? This isn't a passive show. This is something where we're actively engaging with our audience, which is why I typically like it more than Instagram Live or things, because I can actually highlight your comments here. But like, it's all about engagement. I'm wondering if we should expand our D4D, and maybe we have to meet up every week. Maybe we have to check in with everybody weekly and say, hey, let's make it to these Zooms. And you know what? Sometimes people are just not going to show up, but we still got to do them. We still got to post them.
Like, there's two parts to the sword, right? Of like engagement and like success in this industry. I think like on one side, it's how can we break down those barriers to entry on a lot of the knowledge or experience type things, right? If someone's starting out new, like, hey, what's the best approach to text? What's the best approach to cold call? Like, good platforms to use, kind of like those like fundamental, like what would help you get from point A to point B without being stuck in like the paralysis by analysis type situation. But then on the other side of that sword, it's their willingness to act, right? Their desire to act and go through with those things. And we can't control that, right? We can't do anything about that, but we can help with the first part of that. We can share our experiences, we can share best practices, we can share like things to help get you from Trevor Mills trying to like run probate leads in Maryland to Trevor Mills SMS campaign, thanks to Sam Singh, generating multiple leads per day, right? Like we can knock those walls down.
I love it. I
put that on people as much as we can.
I love it, man. I almost want to, I don't know. I guess we have a lot of infrastructure on Discord, but like, what if we had a giant sub-2 Slack? And you have different channels, and like one thing I don't necessarily like on Discord, I actually don't think I can jump in the other. It's like locked. Like I can't go in an Atlanta channel.
Yeah.
But it's like, bro, I'm a buyer in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm a buyer in Houston. I just don't live there.
Yeah.
And my primary and secondary markets are just not that. And it's like, why can't I go to SoCal? Like I'm buy in every market.
Yeah.
Right. So Poppy Aya is like, do it, Manif. Like I might, what if we did that? What if we just got our own sub-2 Slack, right? And we create these channels, but like you're not restricted. And like, I've changed markets 7 times. Like, and I'm just like finally figuring out where, you know, I want to buy, where I want to wholesale, all of that stuff, right? Like, we're constantly just changing stuff. And it's like, those markets should be really where you talk about those deals.
Right.
Us as people who we do, like a lot of people in sub 2 do virtual wholesaling anyways. I haven't seen, I just bought my second house this week, right? It's my,
Yeah.
I think my 5th house total since I started buying the Airbnb. I haven't been in any of my houses I bought.
Right.
Right. And they're in just different markets, right? One's in freaking New Mexico.
Yeah.
Right. And I had to figure out resources for the New Mexico stuff through my other channels. But it's like, I don't think, I'm pretty sure, maybe I'm full of crap. But I don't think if I go to Discord right now, I'll actually be able to jump and make posts in the Discord New Mexico channel.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. Maybe we should have a Slack, because like Slack's super easy. Something about Slack makes sense.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Maybe it's a trial run, right? Maybe we start with DMV and see how it goes, see how the engagement is, right? You know, try and put out like good resources consistently for folks. Try and break down those like barriers to entry and, you know, questions and all that stuff, and start there. And you know, just like we're doing with D4D and DMV, try it out, see how it goes.
Just try it out.
Yeah.
I'm in New Mexico.
There you go, man.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Hell yeah. I love it. I think we need to revamp our accountability groups. I think we need to, even in the D4D DMV challenge, let's have stronger check-ins, right? Like let's have let's check in. Like, who is anyone watching right now doing the D4D lead generation challenge? I think there's a couple people who texted, they said they couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But maybe like, is anybody comment right now? Comment on Twitch if you're doing the challenge, so I know. And if you're not, you know, they're probably, you know, at work or something, because I think we got a couple of people who texted that they couldn't make it to the stream.
Yeah.
But like, I want to be, so like, we're offering, this is what we're offering, just to reiterate, we will close your deals and we will be your buyers in this market. I'm going to say it again. We will close your deals. I mean, talk to your sellers, do all the follow-ups, and we will be your buyers, meaning we will write you a check at close of escrow. We will be your buyers for the DMV.
So Munif, like what does that look like exactly, right? Of closing your deal, like what does someone need to bring to the table to plug in?
All you need to bring to the table is a lead.
What is
a lead? Yeah,
what is a lead?
A lead is a seller who owns a property in that target market, right? So they have an address, they have a home address of a property that's in our buy box. So it can't be like a mobile home. We're not buying mobile homes. It can't be a, you know, whatever, piece of land, right? It's got to be a property in our buy box in that market. And then you got a seller who owns it, who wants to sell it. And then that's a lead. And then we want to qualify that lead a little bit more. We want to say, hey, like, why don't you list it? If you want to sell it, why don't you list it with a realtor and figure out what's going on?
Yeah.
If they have a good, if they're qualifying the lead is saying, hey, what's going on? Do you want to sell it to an investor like us? Do you want to list it? Digging a little bit deeper into the person's worldview. And they're like, no, I can't list it. I don't know. It's a lot. Okay, you qualify the lead, submit it to my team. We will close it. Trevor and I will buy it. So we'll actually talk to your seller. We'll negotiate with your seller. We'll get it under contract. And then at the end of closing, we will send you a check.
So I generate leads. I don't call.
He does not.
Sellers. I don't close. I don't do any of that. Munif's team does.
Yep.
So as a lead generator, what am I doing on my end to generate leads?
You're typically sending texts out to, people in our market. You're either, pulling a list or actually making your own list by getting batch driven, and signing up for batch driven and actually, finding like distressed properties and skip tracing them and, sending text to them. And then you send them to us once, after maybe a couple text exchanges and figuring out their level of motivation, you fill out a form and it comes to us and we actually give you access to see what the status is. Hey, Trevor, do we nurture leads that are not ready to sell right now? Do we nurture leads for you?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've got like 50 in our warm lead category right now.
Yeah. We're just following up on.
Yep.
Right.
Setting up follow-up tasks. So like, what is the value of that? Like, why is it valuable that we're plugging in the rest of the pieces of the deal funnel here? Like, the acquisition piece and the disposition piece. Well, as a lead generator, like all I'm focused on is the most efficient, effective ways to generate leads.
Right.
That's where I've decided I want to spend all of my time as it relates to real estate investing, and I want to get really good at it.
Right.
And so having partners like yourself and your team who can do the follow-up, can call and close the deals, can figure out like the creative solutions ahead of like getting something under contract, and not having to worry about who's going to buy this deal, then boom, like it's a plug and play situation for me where I don't have to worry about all those other parts of it.
I love that.
It's kind of handed to you. The rest of the pieces are handed to you. So I can spend my time focused on the text messages, focused on the 4 pillars, right? What is this, what is this lead's motivation? What's the price they want? What's the timeline that they want to sell? And what's the condition of the property? Send that over to Munif's team. And I mean, I go to sleep at night peacefully without waking up in the middle of the night wondering what the status of my leads are, because Munif's team is rocking and rolling on them. It's that simple. So
this is such a good question. This is one of the first questions you asked me. What's your fee though? Is it fixed? The answer is no. The answer is depending on how good of a deal we can get. So we just split it evenly 3 ways. Whoever generated the lead, whoever closed the lead, and whoever found the buyer. And that's it. And if say Trevor's the buyer, right? He'll get that. Like say he's the buyer, but like we're doing this in a 3-way split. So he'll actually end up paying himself an assignment fee when he buys the house, right? So say the assignment fee, say we lock it up at 200 and we know that the buyers buy it for 210. Say Trevor buys it for 210. That $10,000 we'll just split it 3 ways. So it encourages us to get deeper discounts. So if we get it at 150, we're now splitting that $60,000 3 ways.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what type of deal it turns out to be, whether it's a flip, buy and hold, creative, like it doesn't matter, right? That was one of the first questions that when you and I connected, it's like, how do we do this split, right? And I was like, well, if it's a flip, like let's do this, and rental, let's do that. And you're like, dude, let's not do any of that.
Let's just make it super easy.
Make it super simple, yeah.
Super simple. Yeah. And you once you do enough deals, you really don't really care too much about how you cut up every specific deal. You're just right. Hey, let's chop this up. Let's go.
Yeah, move on to the next one.
Right.
And so asking how do they sign up?
Yeah, I wonder, right, man? Like, I mean, I go back and forth, right? Like, should we let more people in? Should we, open this up again?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Cause it's, we have to show everybody how we're doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe we create a Slack group. We already have a Slack group for this. Maybe we invite people to it. Maybe we have some like SOPs or just some welcome videos we shoot. Like, hey, here's what we're trying to do. Here's the concept, right? And if people want to join, they can join. But my goal isn't to have more people join. My goal is the people we have, people who are like, hey, I want to make money in real estate. I want to figure out how to lead gen. I want to start seeing results. How do we help them stay consistent?
Yeah.
That's my goal. And I think it's just maybe a little bit more engagement from us as leaders. And maybe we find more leaders and maybe the D4D DMV challenge becomes just a DMV, sub 2 group.
Yeah.
And maybe, we use that and maybe we have a channel just for lead generation.
Right.
We have a channel like working with closers, and Ninja will have our web form in there, and it's like, hey, we're here, let's go, right?
Yeah, and maybe like on the buy side, right, having a resource section of who in the community is buying and like what's their buying criteria, like what locations are they buying, like we have each of those different segments kind of resourced out of like best practices, like who to connect with, who to talk to, and everything. I think that for me, when I was getting started and everything, that would be absolutely fantastic, right? Have a go-to resource for all those different parts of the funnel of who is focused on what do they care about, what's their buying criteria, and what are the best ways to get started, right?
Absolutely. So let's keep this sub 2. Let's keep this dry, like just DMV specific, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? Let's do this. Text the word ninja to this phone number. I'll post it. It's 571-931-2778. If you text the word ninja, that will go to my community app. So the community, for those of you guys that follow me on Twitch, it's the app I use to actually message you guys when I'm like, hey, I'm running a little bit late. But the app has a special feature. If you text the word, a word, like say ninja, it lets me put you in a special group. And then I can give you instructions on like, hey, this is how you download Slack. Hey, this is, this is how you can get added to our Slack group. And maybe we try it as an experiment. And Trevor, maybe we bring on more leaders in the DMV on our Slack and say, because like we are probably not going to buy everything, right? And we probably have a specific buy box, and like, why don't we bring more of our sub 2 DMV buyers in on what we're doing?
Yeah.
And like that's one way we can provide more value is like, hey, look, I don't buy land.
Yeah.
But maybe Daryl buys land.
Yeah.
Or Mamadou buys land. Or I personally don't like condos.
Yeah.
But Mamadou might buy condos.
Yeah.
Right. So like, let's figure out a way to bring more leaders into what we're doing. And let's all figure out a way where we can step up and take this to the next level as a team.
Yeah. And I mean, like, our goal with this is to plug in all aspects of it, right?
Yeah.
For the acquisitions and the dispositions. Like you said, like maybe we're not the best buyers for some of those different property types, but we're going to help find the buyer for that deal.
Yep.
And if that buyer just happens to be another sub 2 student, perfect, right?
100%.
Yeah, let's do it. And we're giving this is still an experiment, right? This is a trial run.
Everything I do in my life is an experiment.
Yeah. So
everything.
And that also goes back to what we were talking about earlier about consistency and like, success in real estate and finding off-market deals and everything. It's like you just try a few things, see how it works, iterate, and keep going. Right? We're trying this out, see how it goes. In the middle of it, an iteration process based on results, and keep going from there. Going back to like the consistency piece, like, well, I've heard your story before about the daily dials and just grinding it out everything.
Yes.
And I'm sure you shared it 1,000 times on the takeaway, but give like a quick overview of your consistency there, man.
Bro, hell yeah. Dude, I could not even role play properly when I first joined the Daily Dial. I literally got so scared I hung up the role play phone. Like we do role plays where we're like, ring ring, hi, I'm Manif. Are you looking to sell your house? Oh, bye.
Yeah.
I hang up the phone.
Thank you.
That was my first role play. And man, I remember my first month. It's like you could tell. I'm gonna try to emulate how nervous I sounded. Hi Trevor. This is Munif. I can't even emulate it. Like I was my voice would be shaking because I was so nervous. But what ended up happening is I made a commitment. I said, if I don't raise my hand every single day until they ask me to be a closer on the daily dial, as in a coach on the daily dial, if I don't raise my hand every day until they do that, I will quit real estate forever. This is not for me. I'm going to give up on my dreams. And so I forced myself to do it every single day until they made me be a closer. And now I do it on Thursdays. And hell, like one thing led to another. And now I find myself in the Closers Olympics, like top 3. And I'm like, what's going on? This is insane. So that is my story of consistency. I just focused on getting good at one thing and then doing it every single day. Man, there were days where I was so nervous, I wanted to throw up, Trevor.
But why'd you keep going?
Because I made a promise to myself that if I can get good at this one thing, and now I didn't just show up and I like took notes. I was like, let me like be a student. Let me like apply what I'm learning.
Yeah.
And so I showed up. I knew that if I could figure this one thing out, it would change my life. So I made a promise to myself that, and it was because it was hard. It was like, man, if I can do this, I know it'll change my life.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing I wanted to do. So it sucked some days. Some days were so, man, some of the days I bombed, it was like, I thought I was getting better. And then like something happened. Someone threw a curveball and I just bombed. And it's like, shit, it sucks in the moment. And even for the Closers Olympics, I was practicing for that. And I bombed my first like real live seller call in our practice on the daily dial the week before the Closers Olympics.
Yeah.
And like Jason Lombardi was like, bro, you weren't yourself. You didn't even smile once in this game. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's right. And I felt so bad. But gosh, he's such a good friend for telling me that. Such a good friend for like just pointing it out, like, hey, you weren't yourself. You didn't even smile even once. You didn't smile. And guess what, man? When I was on the Closers Olympics in front of thousands of people, all I'm doing, I'm just being myself. I'm smiling.
Got your latte.
Had my latte.
Yeah.
Because of getting the reps in. Right? Because of consistency and being afraid and still doing it and doing the difficult thing when I didn't want to. Hell, I didn't even want to do the Closers Olympics. Pace kind of volunteered me for it.
Yeah.
Right. And so, guys, you have to put yourself in sometimes uncomfortable positions. Sometimes you have to do difficult things. Sometimes you have to be resourceful, not have all the answers, but keep trying.
Yeah.
Right. It won't come easy. I promise you it will not come easy. That's the one thing I can guarantee you. It will not come easy.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a big key, especially starting out, is like there's a lot of nuance in each part of like whatever you're trying to tackle as it relates to all this, right? You can get the concept down or like what you generally know you need to do, but there's a lot of the little things that maybe you're not picking up on until someone tells you, or until you run into, that situation, and then, it kind of wakes you up a little bit, right? Until you have a Jason Lombardi who's like, hey man, you just like weren't yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure all the other feedback that you got from folks in those like months that you were doing the daily dial, practicing as soon as you got into the community, right? Like you're leveling up each time you're doing that. And that's true for all the other aspects of it as well. Like if we're just focused on lead generation and our partner's doing the D4D, right? Each part of it, of texting people or just having the willingness to pick up the phone and cold call someone, or not even that, just having the willingness to reach out to someone else in the D4D group and be like, hey, can we chat about this challenge that I'm having? Or, hey, can we partner and maybe you cold call and I'll text and we complement each other, right? But just having the willingness to put yourself out there and try those things and act. I mean, when you and I first started working together, I had this brilliant idea to build this like web scraping system, like probate leads, and it was gonna like I was gonna do it all across the United States and all that. And I did it. I spent a lot of money like building the system out and everything, and kind of fell flat at the end of it, right?
Right.
I mean, the leads that I was sending you were pretty garbage.
They were, but we tried. Like,
Yeah.
I love that we tried.
You know, we tried, and even like selling that data and everything, I was like, all right, well, you know, this will help me get some money back. And it was like, no, it's like not gonna work out that way for like a variety of technical reasons or whatever. It was like, okay, well, that doesn't work, but what else will work? Right?
Yes.
And what else works for me too, right? Like what works for Munif might not work for Trevor, might not work for Sam, might not work for Ralph, like you name it, right? I had to figure out something that worked for me with my lifestyle, with like things that I've got going on and everything like that, and dive into it like full force until I found something that was consistent and repeatable. And even then, you know, you're constantly iterating. So that's the message, man. That's the story.
Yeah.
It's not easy, right?
Not easy.
Not easy.
100%. Like we got 2 deals for you locked up that you got buyers for. And it's like that, just getting those, bro. How many months did we tell ourselves, like, hey, man, we're going to go hang out once we make money together?
Once you get that first deal.
Yeah. And we're just like months and months are going by. It's like, we're going to hang out. We're going to go celebrate.
Like,
and it's
I'm
like,
hungry, man. I'm waiting on Korean barbecue.
that was our joke, right? We'd get Korean barbecue, and then go and have a great time and play board games at this board game cafe bar. And it's like, it was when we met, we didn't get a deal for the whole rest of the year. And now in the next year, it's like, hey, that's actually going to happen. We're actually going to get paid for this.
Daryl Ellison, sub 2 student, just started putting out some awesome content on his Instagram. If folks aren't following
his content,
I don't know his handle right now, but look him up. Definitely follow him.
Let me
put out something. Yeah, if you can. He put out something the other day about like those expectations and timelines getting into wholesaling, right? Like it takes, you know, it could take 6 months. There you go. But then the flywheel effect starts happening, is what he was talking about, the momentum game.
Yep.
Because you build up not just your knowledge and experience, but you're also building up your network, your community. I mean, look at your situation. You know, you hit on the Closer Olympics, boom. Munif is a nationwide household name. Right?
I don't know about all that.
Well, you've got people clawing at the bit trying to work with you, right? Because you put that time into it, and it's a momentum type situation, where over time more and more people know that you're a resource, right? Know that you're a go-getter, know that you've got value to offer, and know that, like, you know, if they have a deal or something, that you're going to give it the respect and diligence that it you know deserves and can help out, right? There you go. Sam's saying, like, the snowball effect. That's it. So like there's a bit of a trough up front for wholesaling, I think, real estate investing in general, of like a lot of effort and good ideas and everything, and trying and ultimately failure, right? It's ultimately failure because you're running into those things that didn't work and changing. The folks that can get through that trough, you're going to get through to that snowball effect, to that momentum, that like organically building flywheel. And you know, that's it. There's no secret sauce to it besides just putting the work in.
So what can we do, right? Like, I'm trying to figure out like how we can help the most amount of people in the most effective way. And so let's say you're watching this video and you're like, man, I want to market to the DMV. I want to lead generate in the DMV. And this is an experiment. We're still figuring this out. Text Ninja to 571-931-2778. What I'll do is I'll put you guys, all the people who text Ninja, in a group in that app, and I can actually text you instructions. I can say, hey, here's our Slack. Here's what we're doing. Maybe Trevor, maybe you and me, we make a couple of videos of like, hey, this is what we do. This is the full process. This is how we split the money. Yeah. This is how you enter a lead. This is what a lead looks like. Maybe we put some videos, we put them in the Slack. And maybe what we do is we stream some of it. Why don't we have like a weekly meetup, right? And maybe we stream some. Maybe we do a meetup private where we figure out, we hash some problems out. But maybe, you know, once a week or once every 2 weeks, you and me, maybe some other leaders, we get on the takeaway and we bring some new people who are working with us who are just lost, and we help answer their questions. And maybe they have a bunch of questions that, you know, are a bunch of people have the same question.
I love this idea.
You want to do that?
Hell yeah.
Let's do that. And then let's answer. Maybe it's like, man, I've been trying to use bat driven. I don't even know what neighborhoods are good.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, well, here, or like these areas are really good.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't even know why they're good. I don't even understand why you won't take a condo, and you know, whatever. I don't even know, because like, you know, as you and me get more seasoned, we sometimes forget what it's like to be, you know, early on in the process.
Yeah.
And we can't take that for granted. And maybe we bring on people, you know, maybe every week or every 2 weeks on the takeaway on these Zooms. Let's be consistent, and let's hold people we work with accountable and say, hey, Sally, you've dropped off. Like, what's going on? Is everything okay? And bring some people back into the mix to get them motivated and get them excited.
Dude, that's fantastic. Let's do it.
Okay, let's freaking do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to need your help.
There's another part to it too. It's like, if one person's going through that, I'm sure there are other folks who have the same questions, right?
Yes.
You hear that in school growing up, of like, ask the question because someone else is probably thinking it.
Yeah.
100%.
There's no such thing as a stupid question.
Yep. I can think of a few, but that's just me.
Yeah, well,
I've always got stupid questions, but that's my thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's not going to be stupider than the questions I ask.
Yeah. We have a challenge for between you and I. Can Munif or Trevor generate the stupidest question?
That's hilarious.
The stupidest question.
That in itself is a dumb question.
Yeah.
I love it. So guys, text Ninja to 571-931-2778 if you are interested in lead generating in the DMV. Let's create a system. Let's flush out the Slack group. Let's create SOPs. Let's create Loom videos of like, hey, here's what a lead is. Hey, here's not what a lead is.
Yeah.
Hey, here's what we're looking for. And let's pin these in the Slack. And I love Slack. Let's see if it works. Let's see if we can get engagement. Really, like, I want to be a resource. You want to be a resource. Yeah. We've got other leaders like Daryl, like Sam, who want to be resources, but we want to figure out an effective way where we can engage with people who need our help and people who are committed. And maybe some people, this isn't the right business for them. Yeah. Or I hate to say it, but you know, there are people where it's like, maybe you shouldn't be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's a fact. And maybe it's like, help set expectations. Like, hey, this is a grind. Yeah. Like, you're going to, we'll check in, we'll hold you accountable. If you're, you stray a little bit, we'll see if we can pull you back in. But if it's not for you, it's not for you. And that's okay. It's okay if everybody's not an entrepreneur. Yeah. It's okay if real estate's not for everybody. Let's help you figure it out sooner than later, and by setting the right expectations.
And this gives folks a forum and a structure where they don't have to go out and be that like 100% CEO entrepreneur working by themselves all the time, right? And trying to figure out everything by themselves, right? Like that's how I got started in real estate investing. Is I partnered up with some friends and we started buying properties in Savannah, Georgia together, right? Like I had spent like 2 years before that, dude, listening to every Bigger Pockets podcast and reading all the books and all that. But I needed some structure there of like some sort of, some other folks in the game with me, some partners to kick myself into gear and get after it. Right.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
It helps bring that, like we were talking about earlier, that like barrier to entry or that threshold down a bit so folks can focus on the core elements of lead generation or, whatever part of their business that they want to focus on. So let's do it, man. I'm excited.
I love it.
Excited.
Thank you, Trevor. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here with us. Always. Yeah. Twitch, you guys are awesome. I love you. I appreciate you. You guys are amazing.
Thank you, Twitch.
Thank you so much. We will see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.